What's up, everybody? How's it going? Thanks for joining the live stream today. How's it going, Trevor?
Good, dude. Just got back from Bend, and it was amazing and crowded. Dude, Bend is insane now.
It's like one of my favorite spots in the world, but it is getting popular.
It is. Like even on a Tuesday night, we would go to places. There was this killer restaurant spot kind of on the west side of Bend.
Yeah.
Where it wasn't, the big food truck deals where they have a big building
old
and a bunch.
park.
It was like that, except there wasn't food trucks. There was actual restaurants built into it.
Yeah.
Like it was like a food
The
court
one with
thing.
the tasting room, too?
Yeah, I mean,
Over by
it was
the-
a fancy food court thing. Dude, Tuesday night, and it was jamming, but it was amazing.
That's awesome.
You can get anything you want to get there. So, guys, if you've never been to Oregon, definitely got to stop by Roseburg first, and then swing around to Bend, and then swing back up to Portland and Eugene and fly out. But killer spots. It was fun.
Most breweries per capita out of anyone else in the U.S.
Yeah, that's what I
Bend.
heard.
And the best rock climbing out of anyone in the U.S.
That was killer.
Yeah, it's
killer.
amazing. Well, I figured we could start off today's episode with some light conversation around like politics and what's going on in the world.
All that stuff. Yeah, nothing has happened in this past week or two.
Nothing's
related
happened
to
at all. I just figured, how could we
politics.
get our Facebook stream taken down as fast as possible and get banned from Facebook? Just kidding.
That's right.
We're talking about Google's EEAT today. We're wrapping up a 3-part series about how to build trust with people, how to build trust with your audience on your website. We're going to give you some really actionable things to do around Google's EEAT and how to build trust, and it's going to be good. But yeah, anything you want to mention, Trevor, before we dive into the podcast?
No, I think I'll save it. I'll save it for the podcast. But for those of you that are on here early, what I want to engage y'all to do, number one, is lock this into your calendar, because every single week Brady and I are coming on here live, except for next week, because we're going to be on Summit. So we've got the Summit. Let's link that up, actually, guys. So we'll talk about it on the actual podcast too. But while we're kind of informal here, we have 2 days worth of amazingness next week. So it's Wednesday, Thursday. We're going to be going all day, both days, with some of the biggest experts in the country on all kinds of topics. SEO, transitioning from active investing to passive, paid marketing, AI, all kinds of topics.
And I'm finally going to get to ask Jamil how he makes his Facebook ads so stinking clever and funny. Yeah.
He's just a kid. Like, that's the way his brain works, man. He's a comedian.
Is he really?
I don't know if he's ever done comedy, but
Maybe he is. We're going to find out, though. And we're going to deliver so you can make ads like Jamil.
Heck yeah.
It's going to be good.
Love it.
All right. Let's kick it off into the podcast. Let's get into the meat of it. If you guys have any questions around conversion, SEO, anything under the sun you think we can help with, put it in the comment box, and let's kick off this podcast. Let's get it going. What does it mean to build trust in Google's eyes and with prospects on your website, online? This is part 3 of our series on EAT. It's experience, expertise, authority, and trust. And we're going to give you actionable examples today of how to do EAT well on your website so you can rank higher, convert more visitors into leads. And today's episode is brought to you by Carrot's SEO tools. We make SEO research and tracking easier, all inside the Carrot platform for way better value than anything else you can get out there. So welcome to today's episode. If you're listening to the podcast version, join us every week. We go live in the Facebook group every Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific. And then after the podcast, we answer questions live. But Trevor, welcome, man. We're talking about EAT. What do you got? Or we're talking about trust in EAT. What's the biggest thing about trust?
Well, dude, the first thing is just like in the order of EAT, right? Experience, expertise, authority, trust. Everything really builds up to trust.
Yeah.
In my eyes, it does, right? Because why do you need to build to show your experience? Why do you need to show your expertise? Why do you need to become and build authority? Well, it's all so people trust that you can actually solve their problem. They feel comfortable with it, and they want to do business with you. And we've been in this era of trust for years, right? I first did a podcast episode on this I think I called it the Trust and Credibility Code back in 2017.
Yeah.
And we were the first ones really at scale talking about it back then, because we saw how cluttered the market was getting, how everything was starting to kind of look similar and the same, right? When you're a wholesaler or a flipper or an agent, and your primary message is pretty much plus or minus the same, your value proposition is pretty much the same versus the other guy. So my value proposition is I can close quickly, I can pay cash, I can close in 7 days or less, or whatever it is. That's the same darn value proposition as 98% of all other wholesalers and flippers.
Right.
If you're an agent and your value proposition is, hey, I can show you homes, I can help do the paperwork for you and make this easy for you, and I'll call and answer quickly, and I'm here for you. That's the value proposition of almost every other agent.
Yeah.
So the only reason then people end up choosing you, usually not the only, the major reason, is because of trust.
They trust you. Yeah.
They trust you. So we're going to dive in a bunch here. I would suggest maybe we'll do another episode sometime on how do you stand out with your value proposition. That'd be a fun one. Let me know in the comments box, wherever you're watching this, whether it's on YouTube or live here on Facebook. Would you want us to dive into that deeply? How do you create a value proposition that truly helps you stand out? Because that's number one. But at the end, trust is major.
Yeah, that'd be a good episode. I think that'd be a fun one to do. Yeah, I was telling you before the podcast started, like, trust is the most overlapping of them all. It's the sum of the E and the E and the A. But let's get into it. We're gonna give you like about 7 to 10-ish actionable examples of what to do on your website. The first one I want to jump into is transparency, and we'll break this down into 3 different ways you can be transparent on your website. But like the easiest one is contact info. And for some people, this might be a no-brainer, but I'll still see CARE members that don't have transparent contact info on their website. Make your contact info easily accessible. Phone number, email address on your website. Don't be afraid to put your email address on your website in addition to the contact form. If you're doing any cold calling, if you're using multiple phone numbers, add those phone numbers to the bottom of your website. That not only helps for trust, but it also helps for when people Google your phone numbers. You're doing cold calling, someone's going to Google your phone number, and you want them to find your website. And one other thing is having a physical address. That's a huge way to build trust. Like, yeah, you can run your business from home, and you can do that. But having a physical address, having an office in town is going to add a huge layer of legitimacy, credibility.
Yep.
Yeah. What's the next one, Trevor?
Dude, on that too, so I was pulling up a website, because one thing that's really, really important with the contact info is, especially on a mobile phone, making it really quick and easy for someone to tap your phone number.
Yeah.
So always have that phone number at the top of your site, and always have it so it's really, really easy for someone to go through and find it on a cell phone, on a cell device.
Yeah.
One thing that Dave Brown has done, Dave, you might be on this amazing, let me share my screen really quick and I'll kind of talk through it, is number one, by default, Carrot sites have contact info easy to find, right? But he's kind of taken it to the next level, and he's built in even more information on his contact page. He not only shows, hey, if you have questions, ask us and give us a form to submit, but he has the address in there, like you said. He has his phone number. He has hours in there, so it looks like a real business. And then he's even got a Google, his Google map link that links to that address, which that can help with SEO too. But if I'm popping in here and I see that, I go, oh, this is probably a real person.
Yeah,
so
they're right down the street. They're not afraid to hide behind it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sweet. So another one we got, and the note of transparency about us page. This is one of the ones that, like, unfortunately, it's really common. I don't know if it's because people don't want to put in the work to create an about page, or because they just are afraid of putting themselves in front of the business, or maybe they think it's just all about the brand or the company name. But at the end of the day, people want to do business with people. A good example of this, Bo Hollis. We talk about Bo Hollis every episode because he does this really well. He's got Simply Sold. Simply Sold is a brand, but he's the face behind the brand. And so his face is all over there, talks about himself. Another example of this, let me share my screen real quick, is Daniel Kong. So Daniel Kong out of Hawaii does this really well, and he actually writes about his team members on his website. Thank you, Braden. So he writes little bios for himself and everybody on his team. He's got Daniel, he's the chief problem solver. Christina does the design. Josh does the operations. Amanda is the office manager. Rose is the senior project manager. He's got a little bit of PR in there about him being featured in local news. A lot of you guys have teams and you're not leveraging them on your about page. Like the credibility that comes with being a team and a real operation versus just a solopreneur, that's huge.
Especially if it's not you showing up to the house, but it's Johnny or Jill on your team.
Right.
Like have them on there and say like, hey, Jill is the one who's going to be connecting with you. Okay, are you on our website right now? Yep. Just click about us. You're going to scroll down. You're going to see Jill. She's right there. She's been working with us for 5 years or whatever. It's just having that there. And I've said this data a million times. Once again, I posted this probably originally back in 2017, 2018 on Facebook, and it blew up in this market. Is the top 3? It's usually number 3 highest, most visited, most clicked page of the entire website across all the websites. Doesn't matter if it's sellers, buyers. It's always the about page. Because after people check the box of does this company have a service that can solve my problem? Hey, I have a house. I'm trying to sell it, or whatever it is. Yes, it looks like they buy houses, or they can list it and sell it. Then the very next thing is like, well, how is this? Let me understand the thing. How is it different? What is this thing? How is it different than listing with an agent? Or if I'm an agent, how is it different than other agents? Or whatever it is. But then the next thing is like, who are they?
Yeah.
Who the heck is this company? Because like I said, guys, unless your value proposition truly is different, which most people's isn't, and we'll solve that with y'all, then the only thing they're going to base it on is the trust part of it. And a big part of that is who you are.
Yeah. I can't tell you, dude, even just working for Carrot for a software company, you think about how much this matters for a real estate investor or an agent where they're local, their brand, their face matters. They're a real person in their local market. But even like for myself working for Carrot as a software company, how many people I've talked to, they're like, I just wanted to work with you guys because of the way you do business.
Yeah.
Like they saw our about page, they saw a photo of our team, they watched part of a YouTube video, and they're like, I just like the way you guys do business. I just wanted to work with you guys. And then everything else comes after that. It's like, okay, now how can you help me with my website? If we're speaking about that as a software company, imagine how much that matters for you as a local real estate investor.
Someone's selling a $100,000 property versus buying $100 a month software.
Yeah.
Right?
The about page can, like, you can do a lot of things wrong on your website, but if you don't have the about page dialed in, if you don't have a bio, your values, the history, the mission of your company, I mean, the about page alone can sell someone and be enough to make a phone call. You do a lot of things wrong, you nail the about page, you can get the lead and convert them.
100%.
So if you don't take anything else away from this episode, take some time to make your about page personalized, get some values, maybe a mission statement on there, get a picture of your team, leverage your team, headshots of your team if you have them. That will go a long ways. And you do it once, and you're not going to have to update that thing for eons.
And if it's just you, great. Have a picture of you or you and your family. We have a lot of really successful clients who are just them, and it's them with their wife, dog, and kid. Right. It just shows, hey, I'm a real person. And that's what we're after is people want to know I'm working with someone who's a real person. They seem like they're a good person. And I clearly see why they do what they do. Right.
Yeah, another one, transparent process. So, a lot of this is baked into Carrot, but a how it works page that's clear and useful. It's not just fluff, but it actually tells them how the process is going to work, what they can expect. So it can take away the objection of like, well, what's going to happen? I don't know what they're going to do when I submit my information. Like after they submit their information into your website, they need to know the exact next step. So it's super crystal clear.
Yeah. And all these are key. So they're key for conversion, right? But also when we're talking about EAT, that's from a Google perspective. Google made that up. So once again, we have to ask the question, why are these important from the perspective of ranking well in Google? Well, because Google wants to see people engage in a website. They want to see people click on a search engine result. That's a CTR on a search. Then number 2, they want to have people stay on a page. They want to have people engage in the page. They want to have people click through to more pages. They want to have people become a lead. And the more those user actions that people are doing, and this isn't new. This has been in Google for better part of a decade. Just this last 3 to 5 years, they've increased the importance of the user actions. But I remember 7-8 years ago, we were doing the exact same thing. That's why we have how it works pages, about pages, that all came because we were seeing users interact on clients' websites. We were running tests and doing heat maps, and we were going, why are people clicking that how it works button way down the page a lot? It was hot on the heat map. Let's bring it up here to the top. That must be something they want. Let's get it up to the top where more people are going to see it, more are going to engage in it. And part of those things are just standard across the industry now, that people probably wonder, like, why do all websites, even non-carrot websites, have about us, how it works, reviews, things like that up top? It's because we did the testing, we made it standard in this industry, and that's what Google wants to see.
Yeah. So if you think you can get away without it, don't take that away from your website. Don't simplify it. You need that on your website. Yeah. It was even further solidified with the Google API leak last week.
Yeah.
Like how much clicks mattered, like clicks into the website and clicks on your website. How much that matters for ranking purposes.
So those one-page websites, we've all seen those, right?
Oh,
Where it's
yeah.
one big old long page, and it has navigation at the top, but when you click it, it just takes you down the page.
It scrolls down.
Yeah, in my eyes, and I don't have proof with this, but in my eyes, I don't believe that that's going to be rewarded the same from Google. And also, it can kind of confuse the message, because now you have all that type of content on one page, and it might be a little bit trickier for Google to really figure out, well, what do I show this for XYZ company name reviews? Do I show it for Sell My House Fast? Do I show it for Best Real Estate Agents In?
Yeah.
So those one-page websites, guys, where you click it and it keeps you on the page, if you want to crush it with SEO and conversion, that's not going to cut it. And you need a mini site.
I've never seen a mini site or a one-page website rank for any, like, not even just real estate, like any local service-based industry. You're just not going to find it. And I've seen people put work into like one-page websites and like, look at this website. It's so clean. It's so simple.
Yeah.
As soon as I hear the words clean and simple, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, you put a lot of work into that.
Yep.
It's never going to rank.
It means
It's
empty
never gonna
pockets,
convert.
dude. Like
Yeah.
clean, simple, usually, not all the time, but usually means your pockets are going to be empty too.
If you're a creative marketing agency or if you're Apple, it's a whole different story, but not for local service-based businesses. What's the next one? Show you're a real person, have a real story of why you do what you do. Anything to share there, Trevor?
Dude, only thing I want to pop up here, and Brandon, if you can bring it my screen, I always look for inspiration outside of whatever industry I'm marketing in, right? And I look for those examples in normal, boring industries that are blowing up, and going like, why is that company doing so well, right? Why are they growing faster than the other XYZ company? And this is an example I found years and years ago. Called Saddleback Leather. And Saddleback Leather, they make leather bags like satchel packs or whatever it is, but they're really, really high quality leather bag. And they were blowing up. I saw them in a magazine the first time, like a big old article about them, about their entrepreneur. Saw them here, saw them there, saw the revenue growing really, really fast. And it's all about story. And so when you go to their website, they have a great product, but if you take their product picture and put it next to another leather bag, they both probably would look good. But they dive into the story deeply on how they make their product, like videos and up close pictures, and show how their stitches are better. And they show the stitch of their competitors and show how crappy the stitch is side by side. They show the craft of it. But on the story, they don't just say, Saddleback Leather, we like making leather bags. We developed the highest quality leather bag for da-da-da-da, and you can use it for these uses. And my wife and I started this company because we're passionate about blah and blah. No. They have a giant story on here, and I urge anyone to just go to Google and Google search Saddleback Leather, and then go look at their story. Go find their about page.
Yeah.
And you're going to read it, and it's amazing.
This is good. I'll read this first line. Okay. Or were you going to read it?
No, go for it. Yeah.
A hot wife, 2 fabulous kids, 14 Rwandan sons and daughters, a cool dog, and a crooked federale. A crooked federale sent to kill me kind of makes up the Saddleback story, and here's how it happened.
And then it goes through the whole thing, and the cool thing is there's a bunch of pictures and like real photos, right? Like actual real photos of things that happen. And then it goes into how he found this bag in Mexico, and it was like the best bag ever. And then he started working with them to make these bags, and da-da-da-da. And now they have this amazing company that makes the world's best bag. So how can you do that as an investor or an agent? Like, guys, we're not going to bring just the things to you that are everybody does these things, so you should do this thing too. We're going to bring the things to you on how you're going to how to help you stand out. Most of you aren't going to do this. But the ones who do, and the ones who have been doing the things we've been suggesting for years, are the ones who stand out. We showed this website a little bit ago. Dave Brown, will probably bring it back up here in a bit. He does the things that we teach that others don't do, and he really does them to the 10th degree, and they work. So you want to really stand out, guys. Take that about page, take your story, take your pictures, and go, how do I connect with someone so deeply, and show them why I actually do what I do?
Yeah.
And make it real. Right? Let's say you went bankrupt on it. Hey, how did I become a real estate investor? And then just talk about your story. It's like
people want to know the dirt. They want to know the drama.
Fast food, fast food. Make what is the rest of the story? Fast food, teacher, bankruptcy, and a savior, right? And then you walk through that. Hey, I started out here, then I became a teacher and didn't like that, and then and did these other things. I went in bankruptcy. I had to be saved. My house was foreclosed on. It was a terrible pain. Then I actually learned about this profession where people buy houses because someone bought my grandma's house, and I wanted to move out of the teacher profession to help more people. And I've always wanted to help people. I thought it was going to be through teaching, but actually I found a way to do it this way because. Whatever it is, like tell your story and show pictures. It's going to wrap people in.
Dude, we should do a copywriting storytelling podcast instead.
Yep.
Just kidding.
We should.
If you guys want to really nerd out on some of the stuff, the copywriting, the storytelling, go look up like Russell Brunson has really good frameworks in his books, any of Russell Brunson's books on like the hero's journey, or I'm about to blank on his name. Donald Miller, Donald Miller, Story Brand Business, I think his book is called, but they both have really good, simple frameworks for telling story and writing copy that applies to things like about pages and simple online marketing, even Facebook ads. Like all good copy pretty much follows one simple story structure or framework. Movies follow the same framework. Every good book follows the same framework about a hero and their problem and how they overcame it. Anyways, we're going to stop nerding out. Let me show you one more example on a really good about page that's like the best example of trust building I can think of because I came across it this week. Keith, my buddy, I'm going to brag on you. I think you might have updated your page, your about page recently, or maybe it's been up for a while and I missed it. But listen to this. He says, "Hi, I'm Keith Sam, CEO and founder of Kind House Buyers. I am a marketer turned house flipper. I'm also a Washingtonian, born and bred, lifelong entrepreneur and taco lover." And then in probably H2 tag, like larger text, did the world need another cash for houses company, ? So he's creatively working his SEO into the about. And then the next line, I'll stop here. It says, "In an industry teeming with sleazy cash buyers and pushy salespeople, I wanted to do a U-turn. I wanted to create a company that put people first and profit second." And then it was a rough beginning, ... Like just keeps diving further and further into story. And it's his own story of real estate. And it's like, it's so different from what any other about page would look like, but it doesn't matter. Like the moment you start telling a story, you've got someone's attention.
So why does this matter for Google? It keeps people on the page, right? If Google sees you clicking, a person clicking through, that's a user signal, and they're staying on a page, they're engaged. And by staying, it engages them to go to another page and then become a lead. That tells Google this website is high quality. It's a trustworthy website when it sees a pattern of enough people doing that. So we want to loop it back to that when you do the right thing for the human, you end up doing the right thing for Google. Okay. Where a lot of people try to game it and say, I'm going to try to do the thing for Google, and it ends up being completely disjointed, not right for human or Google. Do the right thing for the human, and then you'll end up doing the right thing for Google. Yeah.
Time on page matters a lot.
Yep.
Okay, so that's it on transparency. Honestly, man, if y'all do those things, like you've done 90% of the work. Let's go through some other ones. Trust badges and certifications. This is a big one and really easy to do. Trust badges from reputable third-party organizations. Pretty common ones are Better Business Bureau. Trevor, you've shared your thoughts on the BBB. You think it's a scam? I would agree with you. I think it's a scam as well. Yeah. And they're holding your credibility, your reviews hostage unless you pay them money. I think that's crap. But people still look at BBB to see if you're a legitimate business.
Especially 55 and over, right? So it really depends on what your target market is. So if you're an HVAC company and you're in a really young, affluent area, they really don't care about BBB, right? Yeah. They're going to care about Google reviews, Yelp, things like that. But if you're marketing to an audience that's above 55, then you need to look and see, well, where do they look? They're not looking on Trustpilot. They're not looking on G2 Crowd, right? They're not looking at any of those areas. They're probably looking Better Business Bureau and Google reviews. And so, and we have seen in our data as well, we pulled the highest converting websites on a very consistent basis, and we look at them and we say, what's in common with these? Like, we look at them with our own two eyes and ask those questions. Why are these converting better than the average that are lower than that? And 8 out of 10 in the last study that I looked at all had a Better Business Bureau or Google reviews badge up around the form at the top of the site. 80% of them did. When we looked at some that weren't converting as good, let's say they were like in the hundreds on our list, almost none of them had a badge up there. Now, is that what means, oh my gosh, that's going to be the thing that's going to bump your conversion? No, that's just one of the elements.
Yeah.
And I think usually people that put that up there are just more thoughtful with their page and building credibility in general in the whole thing. But having that in there's big. Another thing, too, that some people use, and Dave Brown on the website that we had showed earlier, Selling Out Home Buyers, is using it. But there's tools out there like FOMO or Proof or some other ones like that shows up a little badge on the bottom that says, hey, Marcia from Illinois requested a cash offer 8 hours ago. Those little things actually can work because it shows people that other people are engaging with the company. Okay, I'm not alone. Right, I can trust the company because I'm just not alone with it, and also it shows that other people have gone first in it because people rarely want to be first.
Nobody
you don't want to be the
first.
Yeah, you don't want to. If there's 2 restaurants and you're driving down the street, right, and one restaurant on the left and one on the right, and let's say the one on the right is actually amazing food. It's the best food in town. Okay, but for some reason on this day, who knows why it is, on the left that parking lot is packed because a out-of-town baseball team came in and they didn't know any better, so they went there. And on the right, it's not packed.
Yeah.
If you had no other information to choose from, I'm gonna go to the left because it looks like it's probably better because there's more people there before me, right? It's the same thing here. So making sure we have real customer reviews and testimonials. Let me share my screen real quick, and I'll kind of show and walk through. We have our internal document that we use to train our own team on certain things, and so we have like good, better, best testimonials. So I'm going to show you a couple examples here. Okay, so the best version of a testimonial is actually a testimonial that has a photo. Okay, number one. Photo or video. I actually prefer photos, but videos are amazing if they're the right stuff in the video.
If it's a good video.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have, and I'm not saying good as in highly produced. I honestly prefer it just from a cell phone because it looks more real. It's not all professional and fancy.
Yeah.
But there should be a photo or video. Number 2, there should be a headline above it that brings out the objection that is the objection that you help them overcome.
This is the biggest mistake. Sorry to cut you off,
Yep,
man.
you're
It's
good.
usually like Martha's review or testimonial from Martha or testimonial from this address.
Exactly.
No, just the objection. Their actual words and quotes.
Yep, exactly. So there has to be a photo or video, a short headline at the top that is the objection you help them overcome so someone can immediately, quickly see their objection in someone else's success story. Then there needs to be below it where a lot of people will put like Marcia or Marcia from Illinois. No, I want to put as much as possible about that client in there. Marcia M., Oak Street, Oak Street house seller, Illinois, Chicago, Illinois.
Yeah.
Like literally put the street name on there because the more that we put about that transaction, the more real that testimonial becomes. The less information there is. Let's say that there's literally just a photo, one line of text, and it just says Marcia. For me, I go, that might not be real.
Yeah.
So we want to eliminate the thought that someone could even think that something isn't real.
Yeah.
And so if I were to go to a worse version of one, I'm sharing on my screen right now. This is one I grabbed from a site. I'll just walk through it. It has a picture of a house. Okay, that's not bad. But it's a house. Like anybody can go take a picture of a house. If you don't have a picture of your client, a picture of the house is just fine. Okay. Mm-hmm. But then it has a big old block of text, no headline. I was able to sell my home, and this actually is Keith, but then it just has Chris, K-R-I-S. But what he does that's amazing down here is this bumps up big time. He puts the address in there. So the one savior on this whole thing is the address.
Yep.
Because now I go, oh, this probably is real.
Yep.
Right. So I would add Chris M., whatever it is, Tacoma house seller.
Yeah.
or something like that.
I'm waiting for someone to execute the idea we brought up on last week's podcast. Just wait. I know you're on here. Dude, do this to your website. Put a map, embed a map on your website and drop some pins on it of places that you've done deals in your community. I feel like that would be so powerful.
Huge
and put it
on
on your
trust,
homepage.
man.
Nobody's done that yet.
No,
so please
huge
somebody
on
do it
trust.
so I can see it. And then I'll share it on the podcast.
Yep.
And give away the secrets.
And here's two last things on this, and we'll bump to the next topic. So on my screen, I'm gonna talk through it. I show kind of like the worst variation of a testimonial. I guess this isn't the worst, but close to it. No photo, no video, no headline to draw me in. It says I sold the home to this company. It does say the sale was simple. We appreciated it. We'd recommend them, right? It doesn't really go into any real objection. We helped them overcome. No photo, nothing. Then it just says Richard and Jacqueline. Right. So that's something that Brady could have typed up. Right. And that's what the prospect thinks. So the more layers we add on it, the better. And there is a study that was done that really shows what things should you have on a website to build trust that actually get people to engage in that website more. When there's engagement, it tends to lead to higher conversion. And at the bottom, by a factor of about 115% less lower results, is if you had no proof on the website at all, it ended up being about 115% lower results. Okay,
That's crazy.
but then if you go up, let's say that there is press mentions with logos of press. Okay, that's about in the middle. You're almost going to double your performance from no proof at all to even just press mentions.
Yeah.
Okay, so you could, we see on some of our clients' websites where it's like mention on ABC and mention on this and mention on the Boston Courier. Those are good. But for this industry, what people care most about is actually the client that you help. So at the highest level, the best performing is testimonials with photos. Right below that is testimonials without photos. So even if you have a testimonial without a photo, it does perform a little bit lower, but not a ton. Include it in there. Okay, guys, so this is how important it is. Over double the performance from no proof up to testimonials with photos.
Here's another good thing I was just thinking of, Trevor, way you could leverage testimonials on your website. So I think this is built into Carrot. See it, even if not, I've seen a lot of people use this on the homepage of their Carrot site, but like the different ways we serve people, like how we help people, in foreclosure, XYZ scenario. If you had a testimonial for each one of those scenarios and put it in that section, I mean, you should also put it on your testimonials page, on your about page, but like we help people in foreclosure, and then bam, there's a foreclosure specific testimonial. Like that's irrefutable. Like you're getting the lead at that point.
100%. Love it.
That'd be powerful.
Love it. Love it.
All right, moving on. Those were a lot of the big ones. Here's a few more. This is super easy. SSL certificate. I just went to a website this morning from a person that has not switched over to Carrot yet. The most garbage website I've seen all year, and it didn't have an SSL certificate. A lot of times, like people will just straight up bounce if you don't have like HTTPS. This is already a thing you get with Carrot, so if you remember, you don't have to worry about this. But if you don't have that, you're going to bounce. Yeah, I mean, you get a warning from Google that says this website is not secure. Like,
it does.
You're not getting any leads.
And that was years ago. I can't remember how many years ago, but that's one of the things we always try to do is keep people ahead of those things, so you don't have to know about it. But yeah, I think it was probably 3-4 years ago, maybe. Might have even been before that, where Google's like, hey, we're going to start to treat this seriously. That your site should be secure, especially on mobile. And so get it done. You can get an SSL certificate for maybe $50, $60 for a good one, $100 for a really good one. And you guys get like the $100 version at Carrot for free basically every year.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, those are about all the tips and hacks we have for you. Let's go through just a few. There's gonna be a little bit overlap with some of the tips we gave, but a few trust detractors, things you can do that are going to erode trust on your website or potentially turn people away. I'm just gonna run through these real quick. If you have any questions, put them through the chat. After we finish the podcast, we'll answer a couple questions before we bounce. Trust detractors. This one irks me, man. People put that live. I even see it on really good Carrot websites. You do the live chat box, and there's like a stock headshot of a gal named Sophia. She looks like a Russian shampoo model. Like it's like an AI. Like it's too perfect. The picture is like AI generated, and it's like chat with Sophia now. And I'm like, you go to the about page, and Sophia doesn't work there. I'm like, Sophia doesn't work for you guys. This isn't real. Maybe that goes over some people's heads, but I'm like, there's gotta be a way to like put a picture of a real person in a name. And if it's not live, don't try and make it like people see through that. If it's not live, then don't say it's live. Just call it a chat. But put pictures of real people. Like if you want to see how this works, like go to carrot.com, go to our website. Like we've got a really cool live chat with like real pictures of our employees here in the States. Another one, slow website. If a website's loading really slow the whole time, like in the 3, 5, whatever seconds a slow website is taking to load, someone's going like, what's wrong?
Yep.
What's wrong with this website? Is this broken? Is it a budget website? Is this legitimate?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what goes through. I'm just sharing my own personal experience, but when a website takes a long time to load, I'm like, is this a legitimate operation? Because no legitimate operation, or most, don't have super slow loading websites.
And we all have like our own internal countdown. Like whether we're thinking about it or not, we literally go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's pretty much what mine is.
Yeah.
It's like 5 seconds and then I'm out. And I was running a bunch of page speed tests this last week or two, because every single quarter we're always like benchmarking against other options in the market, and then we're always like, well, how do we keep our clients ahead, right? Sometimes we're way ahead, sometimes we're a little bit ahead, but we're always aiming to be ahead. And I ran some tests on so there are things you have to do. If your site's showing an 88 on performance score for desktop, there's some things that you can do, probably compressing images and things like that. We have resources for you, but this is a full-blown, let me bring this over, Braden, so this can be shared on the screen, because this would be pretty cool. This is a full-blown website dialed in for SEO, like 1,500 words on the page. This isn't a landing page with nothing on it, okay? 98 performance score on desktop, 100% on SEO, 100% on best practices, 96 in accessibility. There's a few things we could change in the copy of that page to get it up higher, but that's about as high as you're probably going to get with a page with a bunch of photos and 1,000 to 2,000 words on it that's dialed in for SEO. Now, if you want to talk like conversion on PPC, I was running some other ones as well, and I launched using our PPC landing page tool. And I'm just going to show this one really quick, because this one I was like, can you get 100? Can you get 100 performance score?
Yeah.
You can.
Oh, yeah.
You can. So on Carrot anyway, you can. And so I launched this on a landing page in the exact same site I just showed you before, but I use our landing page tool. And this is a low content page. It has a couple photos, 500, 600 words, but it has 100 on the performance score, 100 on SEO on a landing page, guys. Most landing pages never have 100 on SEO, 100 on best practices. So this is why we focus on it, because it helps you build trust, helps you stay ahead of the game, y'all. And you guys can do the same thing. If your Carrot site's not nailing it there, pop in the community. Go to community.carrot.com, and we'll help you and guide you and get it fast. But the platform itself is there for you.
Yeah, and if you want something faster too, like definitely plug it in the community. If you want to get a quick site audit, go to carrot.com/site-audit. Yeah, carrot.com/site-audit and get a free site audit. But pop in the community. We'd love to help you. A few more trust detractors before we wrap it up. Not having HTTPS, we already talked about that. Not having stock images, having stock images, and not having local images to your market. If you're doing business in Texas and somebody sees pictures of like I don't know, old brick buildings, or like really old school buildings, something recognizable on the East Coast, or even vice versa, like that's not going to fly. If you're doing business in Phoenix or in Arizona, like there's a very specific type of house. You really need local images. Some markets, like in the Midwest, you might not be able to tell. Not as critical, but you still need them. And there's also metadata in those photos that you've taken on your phone that Google's going to pick up on. It's going to be recognized in the website. But have stock images, or oh my gosh, I'm going to mess this up so many times. Have local images, local to your exact market, the exact neighborhoods you work in, not the stock images that. In my
belief with people, like if there's people in it, you wave a magic wand, this is ideal. If there's people in it, it's people that are actual real people that you've done business with, or you or your team or something. Like it's actual real people that are involved in your company in some way.
Dude, just bring your wife in the car with you, drive around to some local houses in your neighborhood, and just like hop out of the car and have your wife take a photo of you thumbs up in front of a house.
Exactly. Yep.
Why not?
And we did that recently with an HVAC company. So bring this one over. I'm going to bring this one over the screen. I'll just kind of describe it. Is they didn't really have any good photos that were going to be good ones for that hero section. and you want to kind of show the brand, you want to show people. A lot of HVAC companies or home services companies, they show the truck, right? It's like the main picture is the truck.
Yeah.
It's like people could give a crap about the truck because they already see your logo up there. What they care about is the people. Are these people good? Are they clean? Are they professional? And they want to see happy, smiling customers. And so we actually got them out here. They're here local to Roseburg. And Braden had shot a bunch of great photos of the real people because on their previous site, they had all stock photos.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we need to get the real people in this thing. And it's going to bump up conversion and trust.
Yep, that's a biggie. Here's another one, and my man that we talked with earlier in the week that you're working on moving your website over to Carrot with Concierge. I'm sorry for calling you out if you're listening to this, but we love you and we're excited for you to get more leads and have a really high converted website. But having non-professional email addresses, like just using your Gmail address or an AOL email address, people see that on your website. They're going to wonder, why isn't it the same as the domain?
Dude, what's worse, AOL or Hotmail? Which one, Brady?
I think Yahoo beats them both.
What, Yahoo beats them all?
But some people are still holding on to their Yahoo email addresses.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. What's your? This has nothing to do with anything we're talking about. What's your favorite personal email address that you've used in the past or that you've seen? I guess you don't want to give away your personal email.
Oh, dude, we see a lot of them in Carrot that are pretty darn wild and inappropriate. There's probably some I could not and should not say. Where like the customer came in embarrassed because they had to make an adjustment in their account, and they're like, I didn't realize that the username I put in there was actually going to show up on my URL, and it's going to be there forever. I'm like, oh yeah, it's going to be until you add your own URL. No, but there's been some pretty good ones.
My favorite was, I used to have it, and I'm showing my age here, Trevor. I'm showing my youngness, but Good Lincoln 71 at Yahoo.
Oh, there we go.
It was Good Charlotte and Lincoln Park. Like, why not take your favorite bands and mash them in your email address?
I've had the same ones because I had the same email on Yahoo versus Gmail.
Yeah.
And when I originally made mine, it was TMOCK.
Yeah.
Because I made it when I was like 13 or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was a Dateline NBC thing saying there's internet stalkers. And it's like, never have your kids use their actual last name, otherwise they can stalk them and find them. So I misspelled my last name on purpose on there.
Okay, now I know the story. Okay, I get it.
And so still today, now I'm 42 or whatever. I still have my last name purposely misspelled on my primary email.
And now it's just confusing and you miss emails because...
Yeah, I have to describe it to people. It's like, yep, I know it's spelled wrong, Miss Banker lady. I promise it's my email.
I don't want to get stalked. That's awesome.
Right.
Okay, enough of a tangent. Don't use your Gmail, AOL, Yahoo. You get it. Hard to find contact info. Don't let your contact info get buried in the footer. In the footer. I'm sorry, guys. Don't let it get buried in the footer. Make the contact info really easy to access. Another one is fake-looking testimonials. Screenshots work really well. Mm-hmm. Screenshotting Google reviews, Facebook reviews, photos, videos, like we've talked about. And then the last one is super basic. It's typos. Like typos on your website.
Yep.
We have Grammarly now. Grammarly's free. There's no reason for this. Throw your copy into Grammarly or get the add-on so it, the Chrome extension so it detects it automatically. But use Grammarly if you haven't heard of it or seen a commercial before. It'll take away your typos because people are going to question your legitimacy. But I know it's not a sexy one, but it matters. So that's all I got. Anything else we left out, Trevor?
Dude, no. I think kind of wrapping this EAT series, what we want people to really think about and recognize is there's a lot of conversation about how much is Google really using EAT guidelines to determine a ranking, right? There's a lot of conversation about AI. And how AI is going to be changing search. We've been casting vision for what we think search is going to look like for years. It was probably 4 years ago, I think. It was around COVID. I did an episode of the podcast where I cast vision for what I thought search is going to look like. And the crazy thing is it's starting to kind of get there. And the prediction was that I feel the best experience for a searcher is not to do a search and have page after page after page of things I have to sift through.
Yeah.
That I feel, and I said this 4 years ago, that you're going to get one result. That then, if that's not it, it's going to say, like, show me 3 more or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, why is this? And this goes back to trust. Because the reason search engines have not operated that way so far is because we don't trust that the result that they give me, if they give me one result, is the right one for me. So we like to sift through and search.
Yeah.
Okay. So your prospects are the same, y'all. While Google is finding ways to use AI to make a trustworthy answer, the reason it still has all the things below it is because we still don't trust that that's the right answer. So I still want to then go through and look at the things for myself. So your prospects are doing the same thing. They're doing a Google search, and that's really for like information-based searches right now. I'm sure they'll expand it. But when we look at Sell My House Fast or Best Real Estate Agents in or Best Sushi in or Best HVAC, they're not doing AI summaries in those right now.
Right. They're not. Yeah. I talked about this in the newsletter last week, which if you I think, selfish, shameless plug. If you're not getting the newsletter, go to carrot.com/blog, subscribe to the newsletter, because this is where we nerd out and go a little bit deeper on some of these topics that we talk about on the podcast. But anyways, I mentioned this in the last newsletter because Google's heading more towards like AI summaries and feature snippets. And so I think it's really important to pay attention to how you're optimizing your content for featured snippets and giving really clear and clean bite-sized answers.
Yep.
I mean, that's just good practice in general outside of SEO. But anyways, my whole point was, yeah, Google is not doing AI summaries yet for your money, your life topics.
Yep.
So real estate. They're not doing AI summaries for real estate. Not right now, at least.
And it's all about trust.
It could change next week. Who knows? But
exactly. It's all about trust. We don't trust that they're going to give us the best result. And so the reason I think that's important is in general, we all make decisions based off of, do I trust that this is the right thing for me?
Yeah.
And for you as an investor, agent, HVAC, home services, whatever it is, we have to ask that question. We can't assume that they know the things that we know about our company. We can't assume that they know that I've worked with 500 people just like them. We have to show them. We can't assume that they know why I'm passionate about doing this, or that I've never not closed a deal on a contract on a property we put under contract. We can't assume that they know all those things. So we have to do our best to show those, bring those out front, and really build that trust. Those who build the most trust in the markets are going to win. And it's been like that for years. And it's getting more and more and more important. And I think those who build the most trust online are going to win when Google starts to narrow those search results down. And I think you're going to see some sort of AI summary. Hey, here's the top 3 ones in the market, and it's going to be based off of trust factors, usefulness in the website. Do you have Google reviews? When people land on that website, are they finding it useful? Are they bouncing around? Are they staying on it? Yep. Are there press mentions? Backlink profiles are going to be important on there, but not a million links like the good ones.
Yeah.
So AI is here to stay, and those who build the most trust are going to win.
That's a good summary. It's a good summary. Well, this has been a fun series. Thanks, everybody, for listening. If you have any questions, put it through the live chat, and we'll answer it in just a second. If you're listening to the podcast, join us next week in the community every Thursday at 11 a.m., except for next Thursday, we're doing Carrot Summit. So go to carrot.com/summit. We're doing 2 whole free days of live streaming. We do this completely for free, and I'm really proud of it because we do something for free where others are charging hundreds, if not a couple grand, for something of this value in our industry. We're doing really actionable breakouts where we'll teach you how to dial on your Carrot site, how to increase conversion on your website, how to get awesome leads, where some of the best investors in our industry are going to get their leads, what kind of list to pull, a million things. We're doing a whole lot. It's going to be really solid content. So get a free ticket, carrot.com/summit, and we're going to see you there. It's going to be a blast.
Dude. I'm excited about it, man.
Yeah.
You've been putting a lot of work into it. So guys, show up, share it with a friend, and we will see you next week.
Sweet. Alrighty. And we are back to wrap it up. It looks like we already answered the questions that came in through the show and through the Facebook group this week. Shout out to Beth on the team. She's been really awesome at
Beth
getting
has been
responses.
crushing in the community, dude. Beth, I know you're listening to this. We so appreciate you. Community would not be the same without the love you bring to it. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. We've already answered the questions. If anything pops up, put it in the community. Beth or myself or Trevor, one of us will get to you and answer your questions. But thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. We'll see you at the summit.
Thank you all.